The reproductive system. Introduction. Sexual reproduction involves production of offsprings with a genetic makeup inherited from parents. Function of male reproductive system to produce the male gamete or spermatozoa, to transfer it to the female through coitus. Function of female reproductive system to produce female gamete or ova. It receives the sperm from the male during coitus, a site for fertilization. Implantation, development of the embryo. It facilitates delivery of the baby during parturition. The reproductive system is a unique body system in three respects. Produce the species by passing genetic material from generation to generation, or other body systems function to sustain the individual. The anatomy and the physiology of the reproductive organs constitute the major difference between the male and the female species. Other systems have minor gender differences. It undergoes latent development under hormonal control. Others function at birth, but the reproductive system does not until puberty. Male reproductive anatomy can be categorized on functional basis as follows. Primary sex organs: gonads, testes in scrotum. Secondary sex organs: transporting ducts, epididymis, ductus deferens, ejaculatory ducts, urethra. Accessory glands: seminal vesicle, prostate, bulbo-urethral glands. Supporting structures: penis. It contains erectile tissue. The diagram looks like this. Scrotum is supporting the structure for the testes. It is a cutaneous sac consisting of two layers. One loose, heavily pigmented skin, closely related dartos fascia. Dartos fascia, a fat-free subcutaneous tissue associated with smooth muscle fibers. That means dartos muscle. Two types muscles are associated to scrotum. One, dartos muscle with dartos fascia. Two, cremasteric muscle with testes. In response to cold temperature, they contract, moves the testes closer to the body, where they can absorb body heat. Scrotal septum divides scrotum into two compartments. Internally is a prolongation of dartos fascia. The diagrams look like this. scrotal septum, cremaster muscle, external spermatic fascia, dartos muscle, skin of scrotum. The second side, lymphatic vessel, pumpiniform plexus of testicular veins, epididymis, tunica albuginea of testis, tunica vaginalis or peritoneum, internal spermatic fascia, rep. Because the dartos muscle attached to the skin, its contraction causes the scrotum to become tight or wrinkled in appearance. Testes are suspended in the scrotum by the spermatic cords, originally developed high on the posterior abdominal wall, then descend normally before birth through the inguinal canal into the scrotum. Each is composed of seminiferous tubules and interstitial tissue, produce sperm or spermatozoa and hormones, principally testosterone, surrounded by a thick connective tissue capsule, the tunica albuginea. Seminiferous tubules are sites where sperms are produced. Are 400 to 600 highly coiled tubules are modified at each end to become straight tubules. Straight tubules connect to a collecting chamber, the rete testis, in the mediastinum testis. Efferent ductules, 12 to 20, originate from the upper end of the rete testis, penetrate the capsule and connect with the epididymis. A spermatic cord is a tube-shaped connection between the pouch and the scrotum and the abdominal wall. The diagram is just looks like this. Ligamentous remnant of processus vaginalis, straight tubule, seminiferous tubule, tunica vaginalis, then parietal layer and cavity visceral layer, capsule or tunica albuginea. The second side, vas differs, head of epididymis, efferent ductules, red testis in mediastinum testi, body of epididymis, tail of epididymis, descent of testis, descend from the dorsal abdominal wall in the superior lumbar region to the deep inguinal rings during the 9 to 12 fetal weeks. This movement probably results from growth of the vertebral column and the pelvis, accompanied by an poaching of peritoneum. The processus vaginalis. Testis descends posterior to the processus vaginalis. Tunica vaginalis is inferior remnant of the processus vaginalis. The ductus difference testicular vessels, nerves, and lymphatics accompany the testis. The final descent of the testis usually occurs before or shortly after birth. The diagram looks like this. Tunica vaginalis covers the side and anterior aspect of the testis. It is a closed sac of peritoneum. Normally, after testicular descent, the connection closes, leaving a fibrous remnant. Epididymis is a single, long coiled duct would measure about 6 meters or 20 feet, courses along the posterior lateral side of the testis, stores spermatozoa until ejaculation and is the site of sperm maturation. It is continuous with the ductus difference parties, head of epididymis, formed by efferent ductules, is an enlarged coiled mass, rests on the posterior superior pole of the testis. Body of epididymis continues inferiorly along the posterior lateral margin of the testis. It enlarges to form the tail of epididymis at the inferior pole of the testis. The diagram looks like this. See section through testis. Ductus differs. Epididymis, head, body, tail. Efferent ductules. Red testis. Seminiferous tubule or retracted. Tunica vaginalis testis. Visceral layer, cavity, parietal layer. Tunica albuginea, septum, lobules. Ductus differens is a long muscular duct transport spermatozoa from the tail of the epididymis to the ejaculatory duct in the pelvic cavity. Ascends as a component of the spermatic cord and passes through the inguinal canal, descends medially on the pelvic wall and crosses the ureter posterior to the bladder. It is joined by the duct of the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct near the base of the bladder. Ampulla, dilated terminal portion of the ductus differs. Vasectomy. Vasectomy is a sterilizing of males. Differentectomy, popularly called a vasectomy. Part of ductus differens is ligated and or excised through an incision in the superior part of the scrotum. Ejaculated fluid has no sperm. The unexpelled sperms degenerate in the epididymis and the proximal part of the ductus differs. The diagram looks like this. Seminal vesicle is an accessory gland develops as a blind-ended tubular outgrowth from the ductus deferens. Do not store sperm cells situated between the bladder and the rectum. Its duct joins the ductus deferens to form the ejaculatory duct. They secrete an alkaline, viscous fluid that contains fructose, ATP, and prostaglandins, or motility and clotting proteins, or semen coagulate after ejaculation. Its secretions contribute about 60% of the volume of semen. The diagram looks like this. Prostate is an unpaired accessory gland surrounds the urethra in the pelvic cavity, lies immediately inferior to the bladder, posterior to the pubic symphysis, and anterior to the rectum. Its secretions contribute to the formation of semen during ejaculation. Ejaculatory duct formed by union of seminal ductus and ductus deferens penetrates through the prostate gland to connect with the prostatic urethra, opening to the posterior wall of the prostatic urethra. Bulbo-urethral glands, one on each side, are small, pea-shaped mucous glands, are lateral to the membranous part of the urethra. Their ducts open into the bulb of the sponge urethra at the fruit of the penis, contribute to lubrication of the urethra and the pre-ejaculatory emission from the penis. This is the diagram. And the second diagram. Semen is a mixture of sperm plus seminal fluid. Seminal fluid, a liquid that consists secretions of the seminiferous tubules, seminal vesicles, prostate and bulbo-urethral glands. It provides sperm with a transportation medium, nutrients, and protection from the hostile acidic environment of the male's urethra and the female's vagina. In a typical ejaculation is 2.5 up to 5 ml with a sperm count concentration of 50 to 150 million sperm per ml. Less than 20 million per ml is likely to be infertile. The prostatic secretion gives semen a milky appearance. This is a diagram. Ampulla of vas deferens, seminal vesicles, bladder, middle lobe, ejaculatory duct, prostatic urethra, anterior lobe, posterior lobe, membranous urethra. The penis or tail is a supporting structure of the male reproductive system. Is cylindrical in shape and contains the urethra. Is a passageway of the ejaculation of semen and the excretion of urine. Parts: 1. Root. 2. Body. 3. Glands. The root or radix, it is the attached part consisting of the bulb of penis in the middle, is penetrated by the urethra continuing from its intermediate part. The cross of penis on either side of the bulb. Each is attached to the inferior part of the internal surface of the corresponding ischial ramus. They contain masses of erectile tissue. This is the diagram. Second diagram looks like this. The body or corpus is the free pendulous part is suspended from the pubic symphysis, composed of three cylindrical masses of tissue, each surrounded by fibrous tissue called the tunica albuginea. Two dorsolateral corpora cave, cave, cavernosa lie next to each other on the dorsal side. One mid-ventral corpus spongiosum. It lies between corpora cavernosa on the ventral side. Contains a spongy urethra. Rectal tissue is composed of numerous plate sinuses. This is the diagram. It's like this, with its structure or parts. Distal structures of the body, glans or penis head, is a distal expansion of the corpus spongiosum of the penis. Is cone shaped, contain higher concentration of sensory nerve, sensitive to physical stimuli. The neck separates the gland from the body of the penis. External urethral orifice, slice like opening of the sponge urethra near the tip of the glands. Prepuce or foreskin is thin skin and the fascia of the penis prolonged to cover the glands. Frenulum of the prepuce is a medium fold, passes from the prepuce to the urethral surface of the glands. Human penis size, erect. Average erect human penis is approximately 12.9 to 15 centimeters in length. The typical circumference is approximately 12.3 mm when fully erect. Flaccid length. One study found the mean flaccid penis length to be 8.9 centimeters. The female reproductive anatomy include the vagina, uterus, uterine tubes, ovaries. Reproductive tract in women is contained mainly in the pelvic cavity and perineum. Major components: an ovary on each side and a uterus, vagina and clitoris in the midline. Pair of accessory glands: the greater vestibular glands. Ovaries are almond-shaped and cyclic. Are sites where the oocytes or female gametes or germ cells develop and produced. As endocrine glands, they produce reproductive hormones found laterally between the uterus and the lateral pelvic wall. Are positioned with their long axis in the vertical plane. This is the diagrams. Look on both sides. The second diagram looks like this. Read and look both sides. Third diagrams looks like this, with its structure and written. The fourth diagrams look like this. Mesovarium is a subdivision of a larger mesentery of the uterus. Braid ligament suspends each ovary in the peritoneal cavity. Suspensory ligament of ovary is raised fold of peritoneum. Conduit for ovarian vagal nerves and lymphatics attached to superior pole of the ovary from a lateral position. Ligament of the ovary attaches inferior pole of ovaries to the uterus. posterior, posterior inferior to the uterotubal junction. This is the diagram. Uterus or womb is a thick-walled, hollow muscular organ. Is where the embryo and the fetus develop. Non-gravid uterus usually lies in the lesser pelvis. It is body laying on the urinary bladder and it is cervix between the urinary bladder and the rectum. Is approximately 7.5 cm long, 5 cm wide, 2 cm thick, and weighs approximately 90 grams. Is divisible into two main parts, the body and the cervix. The body of the uterus forms the superior two over third, has two surfaces, vesicle related to the bladder and the intestinal, lies between the layers of the breast ligament and is freely movable. This is a diagram. Fallopian tube, uterus, uterus from the left to right. Uterus, fallopian tube, ovary, and the ovary. Ovary is pairs. Is demarcated from the cervix by the isthmus of the uterus, a relatively constricted segment, approximately 1 cm long, includes fundus, the rounded part that lies superior to the uterine ostia. All of the body of the uterus consists of three coats or layers. 1. Perimetrium, the serosa or outer serous coat consists of peritoneum. B. Myometrium, the middle coat of smooth blood vessels and the nerves of the uterus are located in this coat. Endometrium, the inner mucous coat, is firmly adhered to the underlying myometrium, is actively involved in the menstrual cycle. Cervix of the uterus is a cylindrical, relatively narrow inferior 1 over third, approximately 2.5 cm long in adult. Non-gravid woman has two parts. 1. Supravaginal part between the isthmus and the vagina, and the second is vaginal part which protrudes into the vagina. It is less muscular and mainly composed of collagen with a small amount of smooth muscle and elastin. The diagram is look like this. And the second diagram is like this. Relations of uterus: anteriorly vesico-train foot, superior surface of the bladder; posteriorly recto-uterine. Relations of uterus: anteriorly vesico-uterine pouch, superior surface of the bladder; posteriorly recto-uterine pouch containing lobes of small intestine; anterior surface of rectum; laterally peritoneal breast ligament; ureters. Uterine tubes, oviducts or fallopian tubes, conduct the oocyte from the perio-ovarian peritoneal cavity to the uterine cavity. Function: provide the usual site of fertilization. Sperm from uterus to fertilization site conveys the dividing zygote to the uterine cavity. Extend laterally from the uterine horns, open into peritoneal cavity near the ovaries, approximately 10 cm long, lie in a narrow mesentery. The mesosalpinx is divisible into four parts from lateral to medial. A. Infundibulum. The funnel-shaped distal 1 cm opens into the peritoneal cavity through the abdominal ostium. Fimbria is finger-like processes at the end. Infundibulum is spread over the medial surface of the ovary, important to trap released oocytes. B. Ampulla, the widest and longest part of the tube, 5 cm, is the site where fertilization usually occurs. C. Isthmus is the thick-walled part, enters the uterine horn, 3 cm. D. Uterine part is a short intramural segment, passes through the wall of the uterus, 1 cm, opens via the uterine ostium into the uterine cavity at the uterine horn. The diagram looks like this. Tubal ligation. Ligation of the uterine tubes is a surgical method of birth control performed through a short suprapubic incision made just at the pubic hairline. Vagina is a distensible musculo-membranous tube 7 to 9 cm long, extends from the middle cervix to the vaginal orifice, serves as a canal for menstrual fluids, forms the inferior part of Golgi canal, receives the penis and ejaculate during sexual intercourse, and lies posterior to the urinary bladder and urethra, anterior to the rectum. Relations of vagina: anteriorly fundus of the urinary bladder and the urethra, laterally levatorany and ureters, and posteriorly from the inferior to superior to the anal canal, rectum and rectouterine pouch. Vaginal fornix is a recess formed between the margin of the cervix and the vaginal wall, based on position are posterior fornix and anterior fornix and two lateral fornices. The diagram looks like this. Second diagram is just like this. Subject diagram looks like this. Means posterior view. Female external genitalia, vulva, include mons, pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, bulbs of the vestibular, greater and lesser vestibular glands, and hymen. Vulva looks like this. Mons pubis or early mountain is a rounded, fatty elevation anterior to the pubic symphysis. The amount of fat increases during puberty and decreases after menopause, covered with coarse pubic hairs during puberty, which also decrease after menopause. The typical female distribution of pubic hair has a horizontal superior limit across the pubic region. This looks like this. Second is this, like this. Labia majora. Early large lips are two symmetrical folds of fat in the skin, provide protection for the urethral and vaginal orifice, meet anteriorly at the anterior labial commissure. They do not join posteriorly, but a transverse bridge of the skin called the posterior labial commissure, passing between them, are covered by pubic hair, contain an abundance of adipose tissue, sebaceous or oil glands, and apocrine pseudoreferous or sweat glands are homologous to the scrotum. Labia minora or early small lips are thin, delicate folds of fat-free, hairless skin are located between the labia majora. It contains many sensory nerve endings, many sebaceous, and a few sweet glands open on both of their surface, encloses the vestibule of the vagina, meet just superior to the clitoris to form a fold of skin called the prepuce or clitoral hood. In young females, the labia minora are usually united posteriorly by a small fold of the skin. The frenulum of the labia minora. The vestibule of the vagina is the space between the labia minora, the urethra, vagina, and the ducts of the greater vestibular glands open into the vestibule. The external urethral orifice, located 2 to 3 centimeters posterior to the clitoris and immediately anterior to the vaginal orifice. The paraurethral glands or Scans glands ducts open on each side of this orifice. The vaginal orifice, inferior and posterior to the much smaller external urethral orifice. The size and appearance of the vaginal orifice varies with the condition of the hymen. This is the diagram.